Lithuania's prime minister says Ukrainians should get all the weapons they want because they are dying for Europe's safety. We're just losing some money.
Here's a summary of the article.
Ukraine's allies should support Ukraine with whatever weapons it needs because Ukrainians are dying to protect Europe from Russia, Lithuania's prime minister said in an interview with Insider. Lithuania was sending Ukraine weapons even before Russia's invasion began last February, at a time when Ukraine was fighting Russian-backed separatists in its east. Simonite said supporting Ukraine is an obvious human reaction, but also one that protects her country and Europe. It is a very practical thing because President Zelensky actually says that bluntly, that if you want to stop Russia at the borders of Ukraine, you better provide Ukraine with all the weapons that Ukrainian army needs, because otherwise there might be no end to the war in Europe for a very significant period of time, she told Insider. Lithuania, like its neighbors Latvia and Estonia, was once part of the Soviet Union, but is now a member of NATO and the EU. All three countries warned of the growing risk from Russia before its invasion of Ukraine started, and have boosted their own defenses since, believing Russia could turn to other European countries if it wins in Ukraine. While Ukraine's other backers have given more offensive weapons to Ukraine as the war progressed, Lithuania is urging them to send still more, including granting Ukraine's request for fighter jets. She also stressed that arguments for only giving Ukraine defensive weapons don't make sense, because Ukraine can't push Russia out if it doesn't have the ability to attack.
This post received a score of 64,000, with an upvote ratio of 88%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Even money-wise, arming Ukraine is a very cost-effective way to deal with Russia.
In many cases it's using Soviet or Russian arms against them, or weapons platforms designed literally to neutralize Russian forces. Many of these are decades old and doing their job perfectly. Very cost-effective, I say.
A good bit is old Soviet tech that Warsaw Pact nations have wanted to swap out for the NATO standard equipment. A lot of the dollar numbers that get thrown around on the news are the cost to acquire the system new. In reality, sometimes the real-world cost to the nations supplying them is about whatever it costs to ship it. Meanwhile, they're providing outsized value by being used to defend Europe.
Things like 155 and HIMARS ammo are definitely costing a pretty penny, but something like an M113 is bullshit. The M113 is actively being replaced by the AMPV, but its cost still has to be added onto the drawdown.
M113 hasn't been an effective platform since the BMP was developed and made APCs obsolete compared to the IFV concept.
Irrelevant to the fact that the DoD likely has to value each M113 as the cost of a brand new AMPV.
They want to replace the M113 because its role is important for logistics and you don't want it covered by a vehicle designed 60 years ago. The M113 stays in inventory because it's just cheaper to keep them around than scrap them all because we built 1 million of the metal boxes with tracks. I find this utter contempt for money to be beautiful.
It's always better to spend money than blood.
Tell that to Fox News and billionaires.
I think the viewpoint of elites is, better to spend your blood than my money?
It's more, can I make money off your blood?
This message is approved by Dick Cheney.
I wouldn't even calling it losing money. It's an investment. Money well spent.
It's a plain and simple choice for Central Europe and the Baltic. Give money to Ukraine to fight Russia now, or fight Russia on your own later.
Well, it is actually not that simple. Germany, for example, has one major issue. The Bundeswehr is weak as never before. The Bundeswehr will be partly in charge of the defense of the Baltics. Every bit of weaponry we sent weakens not just us but also the Baltics. I still think we should send Ukraine everything they need ECEN if we weaken ourselves, but I understand why the German government has refused to send jets or MBTs in the beginning. Actually, most NATO countries face that problem. Germany is usually just the one everyone talks about when it comes to not sending enough.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.